What if Light Yagami was God? The rain hadn't stopped for 3 days. Light Yagami stood by his window, staring out at the grey sky hanging over the city. The streets below were busy, loud, chaotic, people rushing, arguing, living meaningless routines. He exhaled slowly. This world is rotten. His voice was quiet, but there was weight behind it. From downstairs, his mother called, "Light! Dinner's ready." "I'll be down in a minute," he replied, his tone perfectly normal. But his eyes didn't leave the window. Rotten. That word stayed with him. At school the next day, nothing felt different, and yet everything did. Teachers spoke, students laughed, someone passed notes, someone complained about exams, but Light wasn't listening. He was watching. Observing. Judging. A group of boys shoved another student into a locker, laughing as his books fell everywhere. "Pathetic," one of them said. Light's gaze sharpened. Something in his chest tightened. Not anger. Not sympathy. Something else. A pressure. Like something inside him was reacting, not emotionally, but instinctively. The bullied student scrambled to pick up his things, trembling. The boys walked away like nothing happened. Light's fingers twitched slightly. They don't deserve to exist. He didn't realize he had spoken aloud. "What?" a classmate asked. "Nothing," Light said immediately. But the feeling didn't go away. If anything, it grew. Later that evening, Light sat at his desk, trying to study. But the words blurred. His mind kept replaying the same images: crime reports, violence, corruption, everything wrong with the world. His grip tightened on his pen. Why does no one do anything? The air in the room suddenly felt heavier. Light paused. What? The pen in his hand cracked. He froze. He hadn't squeezed that hard. Had he? He looked at his hand. It was shaking slightly. Then, a scream echoed faintly from outside. Light rushed to the window. Down below, a man had collapsed on the street. People gathered around, panicking. "What happened?" someone shouted. "I don't know, he just fell." Light's eyes narrowed. A heart attack. His mind flickered. Just minutes earlier, he had seen that same man yelling aggressively into his phone, threatening someone. And he had thought, they don't deserve to exist. Light stepped back slowly. No. He shook his head. That's coincidence. It had to be. It was. Right? But that night, sleep didn't come easy. The next day, it happened again. A criminal on the news, someone who had escaped justice, appeared on screen, smirking during an interview. Light stared at him. Disgust rising. He'll never face consequences. The same pressure built in his chest. Stronger this time. Unavoidable. Someone like that? His voice dropped. Shouldn't exist. The screen suddenly cut to chaos. The man collapsed mid-sentence. Reporters screamed. Call an ambulance. Light stood frozen. His heart was racing. No way. His breathing became uneven. That's impossible. But deep down, he knew. This wasn't coincidence. This was him. Days passed. Light tested it. Carefully. Quietly. A thought. A judgment. A decision. And then. Death. Always precise. Always instant. No mistakes. No resistance. Light stood in his room, staring at his reflection. This power. His voice was steady now. Controlled. It's real. The fear he felt at first. Gone. Replaced by clarity. Purpose. If this power exists within me, then it must have a reason. He began walking slowly. Thinking. Analyzing. I can see them, understand them, judge them. He stopped. An act. A slow smile formed. I don't need weapons. He looked at his hand. I don't need tools. His eyes sharpened. I am the tool. From that moment on, the world began to change. Criminals started dying. Not randomly. Not chaotically. Systematically. Perfectly. Every action judged. Every sin answered. Across the globe, fear spread. Something is happening. This can't be normal. Is this divine punishment? Light sat in silence, watching it all unfold. They're starting to understand. Days turned into weeks. Weeks into months. Crime rates dropped. War slowed. Corruption hesitated. The world was bending. And at the center of it was light. He stood one night, looking out at the city again. But this time, it felt different. Quieter. Cleaner. Finally. His voice was calm. The world is becoming what it should be. A faint laugh echoed behind him. Light didn't turn immediately. So it's you. Floating in the air, grinning wide, was Ryak. Well, Ryak said, biting into an apple. I was wondering what kind of human was causing all this chaos. Light turned slowly. His expression didn't change. You're not human. Ryak chuckled. Very observant. What are you? A god of death, Ryak said casually. Or something close enough. Light studied him. Then you know what I am. Ryak's grin stretched wider. That's the interesting part. He leaned closer. You're not supposed to exist. Silence. Light didn't react. I see, Light said. So this power isn't normal even to you. Not even close, Ryak replied. Humans don't just wake up and become whatever you are. Light turned back toward the window. It doesn't matter. Oh. The result is the same. Ryak laughed. You're not even curious. I already know what matters. Light's voice carried absolute certainty. This world needed a god. A pause. And I became one. Ryak watched him carefully now. Not just amused anymore. Interested. You really believe that, don't you? Light didn't hesitate. Yes. The air grew heavy again. The same pressure as before, but now it was constant. Controlled. Owned. I don't need a notebook. Ryak's eyes narrowed slightly. I don't need permission. Another step forward. I don't need rules. Outside, somewhere in the distance. Another criminal dropped dead. Perfect timing. Perfect judgment. Light's eyes reflected the city lights. Cold. Unshakable. I am justice. Ryak smiled slowly. Yeah. He took another bite of his apple. I can see that. Then his grin sharpened. But tell me something, Light. Light glanced at him. What happens? Ryak's voice lowered slightly. When someone decides you're wrong. For the first time. There was the faintest pause. Not doubt. But recognition. Then they'll be judged as well, Light said calmly. Ryak laughed. Oh, I really hope so. Light turned fully toward him now. And why is that? Ryak's grin widened unnaturally. Because? The room suddenly felt different. Not heavy like before. Not pressured. But balanced. Opposing. Someone already has. Light's eyes narrowed slightly. What did you say? A voice, calm, steady, and completely unafraid, echoed from the doorway. You're not the only one who can see the flaws in this world. Light slowly turned. A figure stood there. Unfazed. Unshaken. You've been busy, the figure said. Ryak chuckled quietly. Oh, here we go. Light's gaze sharpened. And you are? The figure stepped forward. Someone who refuses to let one person decide the fate of everyone. Light's expression didn't change. But the air between them tightened. You're challenging a god, Light said. The figure shook their head. No. A small pause. I'm challenging a human who thinks he became one. Ryak grinned wider than ever. This is going to be fun. Light took a slow step forward. The pressure in the room spiked. Invisible. Crushing. You should be dead already, Light said quietly. The figure didn't move. Then why am I still standing? For the first time since discovering his power. Something didn't respond. Light's eyes flickered. Just slightly. Interesting. The figure met his gaze. You're not absolute. Silence. Then. Light smiled. But it wasn't calm anymore. It was something deeper. More dangerous. Then let's find out. The air trembled. What it takes to become absolute. Continue. Light didn't move. But the air did. It tightened, warped, like reality itself was waiting for his command. You're standing in front of me, Light said quietly, and you're still alive. The figure across from him didn't flinch. That bothers you, doesn't it? Light's eyes narrowed slightly. It's unexpected. Ryak let out a low chuckle, floating lazily between them. You've been dropping people like flies for months, Light. First one to resist you, yeah, I'd say that's new. Light ignored him. His focus locked entirely onto the figure. Name, Light said. The figure tilted their head slightly. You don't need my name, they replied. That's the problem, isn't it? You've been deciding who lives and dies without even knowing them. That's irrelevant. No, the figure said calmly. That's exactly why you're dangerous. The pressure in the room spiked. A sharp crack ran through the wall behind them. Ryak's grin widened. Oh, he didn't like that. Light took another step forward. You think this is a debate? He asked, voice low. You think you can stand there and question me? I'm not questioning you, the figure replied. A pause. I'm stopping you. For a split second. Everything froze. Then Light raised his hand. Nothing dramatic. No shouting. No movement beyond that single gesture. And yet, outside, across the city, people collapsed. Not criminals this time. Random. Controlled. Precise. A message. Ryak's eyes widened slightly. Whoa. Light's voice cut through the silence. I don't need to touch you. The figure didn't move. I don't need to see your face. Still no reaction. I don't even need to understand you. Light's eyes glowed faintly red. I decide. Silence. A long one. Then. No, the figure said. Light's hand twitched. Nothing happened. The world didn't respond. For the first time. It didn't listen. Light's expression shifted. Not panic. Not fear. But something colder. You're interfering. The figure stepped forward. No, they said again. I'm resisting. Ryak slowly drifted backward, watching carefully now. Light, he muttered, something's off. Light ignored him. His gaze sharpened further, as if trying to tear something apart that he couldn't see. You're not human, Light said. The figure gave a small shrug. Maybe I am. Maybe I'm not. That's not an answer. It's the only one you're getting. Another pause. Then Light lowered his hand. The pressure didn't disappear. But it changed. Focused. Condensed. Fine, Light said. His voice became calmer. More controlled. If I can't erase you instantly. He took a step closer. Then I'll understand you. The figure watched him carefully. That's new, they said. You haven't tried to understand anyone in a long time. They weren't worth understanding. And I am. Light didn't hesitate. You're a variable. Ryak snorted. Wow. Romantic. The figure sighed slightly. You really don't see people as people anymore, do you? Light's response was immediate. People created this broken world. And you think fear will fix it? Yes. That's not fixing anything, the figure replied. That's control. Light's eyes darkened. Control is necessary. No, they said. Responsibility is. Light stepped closer. Now they were only a few feet apart. Responsibility requires judgment, Light said. And I am the only one capable of making perfect judgments. The figure looked directly into his eyes. You're not perfect. The words hit harder than anything else. The air cracked again. This time, the floor beneath them fractured slightly. Ryak grinned wider. There it is. Light's voice dropped to a near whisper. Say that again. You're not perfect. A heartbeat of silence. Then, everything in the room shook violently. Glass shattered. Walls bent. The pressure became overwhelming. You think I'm wrong? Light said, his voice echoing unnaturally now. After everything I've done? After the world started changing? Yes. Crime has dropped. At the cost of fear. War has slowed. At the cost of freedom. People are behaving. At the cost of choice. Light's expression twisted slightly, not into anger, but something deeper. You're defending chaos. I'm defending humanity. They're the same thing. No, the figure said firmly. They're not. Another pause. Longer this time. Then Light laughed. Not loudly. Not wildly. Just once. So that's it, he said. You're here to protect people from me. Yes. And you think you can win? The figure didn't answer immediately. Then. I think I can stop you. Ryak clapped slowly, floating upside down again. This is the best thing I've seen in years. Light tilted his head slightly. You're still alive. Yes. You're still speaking. Yes. You're still resisting. The figure held his gaze. Yes. Another pause. Then Light smiled again. But this time, it was different. Less certainty. More curiosity. Good. Ryak blinked. Who? Light's eye sharpened again. I was starting to get bored. The figure frowned slightly. That's not something you should be saying. And yet I am. The pressure in the room suddenly dropped. Not gone. Just controlled again. Refined. You're right about one thing, Light said. Oh, the figure replied. I haven't needed to think in a long time. He took another step forward. But now I do. The figure's eyes narrowed slightly. That's dangerous. For you, Light corrected. Ryak chuckled. Oh, he's adapting now. Light clasped his hands behind his back. Calm again. Strategic. Let's change the approach, he said. What do you mean? Or the figure asked. I won't kill you. A pause. You can't, the figure said. Light smiled slightly. Not yet. That word lingered. Not yet. The figure didn't like that. You're planning something. Of course I am. What? Light's eyes glinted faintly. If you can resist my power. He leaned in slightly. Then I'll find out why. Ryak grinned. And then? Light's smile widened just enough to feel wrong. Then I'll remove that reason. Silence. Heavy. Unavoidable. The figure took a slow breath. You're not going to stop, are you? Light didn't hesitate. No. Another pause. Then the figure nodded slightly. Good. Ryak blinked again. Wait, what? The figure's gaze sharpened now. Because neither am I. The air shifted again. But this time, it wasn't light. Something else was rising. Something equal. Opposing. And for the first time, Light wasn't the only one in control of the world around them. Ryak's grin stretched to its absolute limit. Now this, he whispered, is what I came for. Light's eyes narrowed. Show me. The figure didn't move. But something answered. And the world began to react. The moment it began, no one could see it. But everyone felt it. A shift. Not in the air. Not in the ground. In reality itself. Light's eyes narrowed as something pushed back against him, not physically, but fundamentally. For the first time since awakening his power. Something refused to be judged. Interesting, Light said quietly. The figure stood still, but the space around them seemed steady. Unaffected. Uncontrolled. You feel it now, don't you? The figure said. Light didn't answer immediately. He was watching. Analyzing. Breaking it down. Your influence isn't reaching me, the figure continued. Not because I'm stronger than you, but because I'm not playing by your rules. Light's gaze sharpened. My rules are absolute. No, the figure replied calmly. They're just yours. Ryak let out a low whistle. He's poking holes in your god complex, Light. Light ignored him. You're standing inside my world, Light said. Every life here bends to my will. Then why doesn't mine? Silence. A dangerous one. Light stepped forward again. Closer now. Close enough to see every detail. Every movement. Every breath. You're anchored to something, Light said. The figure didn't react. Something outside my influence. Still nothing. Light's eyes glowed faintly again. You're not immune. The pressure surged. Harder. Sharper. Focused entirely on one point. The figure. The ground beneath them cracked violently. Windows shattered across the city. People collapsed miles away. But the figure didn't move. Didn't fall. Didn't even blink. Light's jaw tightened slightly. So that's how it is. The figure finally spoke again. You're used to people being powerless. They are. No, they said. They just believe they are. Light tilted his head slightly. And you don't. No. Why? A pause. Then. Because I remember what it means to choose. The words hit differently. Not loud. Not dramatic. But heavy. Light's expression didn't change, but something behind it did. Choice is what created this broken world, Light said. And removing it will destroy what's left of it. Light's voice dropped. It will perfect it. You don't understand perfection. I define it. No, the figure said. You enforce it. The tension snapped again. This time, something bigger happened. The sky outside flickered. Not lightning. Not weather. Reality. Buildings distorted for a split second. Sounds cut out, then slammed back in. Even Ryak blinked. Okay, he muttered. That's new. Light didn't look away from the figure. You're affecting the world. The figure nodded slightly. So are you. That's different. Is it? Light didn't respond. Because for the first time, he wasn't entirely sure. The figure took a step forward. Now they were equal distance. Equal presence. You've been shaping reality through judgment, the figure said. Through will. Yes. So am I. That made Light pause. Not long. But long enough. No, Light said. That's not possible. You're not the only one who changed. The air around the figure began to shift. Subtly. But undeniably. Not heavy like Light's presence. Not crushing. But stabilizing. Like something holding the world together instead of bending it. Ryak's grin stretched. Oh. I see it now. Light's eyes narrowed. What are you? The figure looked at him directly. I'm the result of your world. Silence. You created fear, they continued. You forced people to submit. And something pushed back. Light's expression hardened. You're not a person. I was. That word lingered. Was. You stopped being one a long time ago, Light. That hit. Deeper than anything else. The air cracked violently again. But this time, it wasn't just Light. The figure's presence surged in response. Two forces. Colliding. Balancing. Fighting. Ryak started laughing. Not softly. Not casually. Full excitement. Yes. This is it. This is what I wanted. Light took another step forward. So you're humanity's answer to me. If that's how you want to see it. Then you'll fail. Maybe, the figure said. But I won't kneel. Light's eyes burned brighter. You will. No. The word echoed. And this time, it wasn't just defiance. It carried weight. Authority. Not over others. But over self. Light felt it. And that's what bothered him. You're not trying to control the world, Light said slowly. No. You're trying to protect it. Yes. Light stared at him. That's weaker. The figure shook their head. No, they said. It's harder. Another pause. Then Light smirked slightly. Then you've already lost. Why? Because I don't have to hold anything back. The air exploded. Not literally. But it felt like it. Pressure surged in every direction. Buildings trembled. Lights burst. People collapsed across the city again. This time. More. Faster. Wider. Ryak's eyes widened. Light, you're going all out now. Light didn't respond. His focus was absolute. If you resist me, Light said, voice echoing unnaturally, then I'll increase the scale until you can't. The figure clenched their fist slightly. You're willing to kill anyone to win. Yes. Then you've already lost. I don't lose. You just proved my point. Light's expression darkened. Explain. You're not saving the world, the figure said. You're forcing it to survive you. Silence. Then, for the first time, Light stopped. Not because he couldn't continue, but because he was thinking. Deeply. Carefully. Strategically. So that's your angle, Light said. What do you mean? You're not trying to overpower me. No. You're trying to limit me. Yes. Light smiled slightly. Smart. Ryak chuckled. He figured you out. The figure didn't react. That won't work, Light continued. Why not? Because limits only matter if I accept them. And then everything changed again. But this time, it wasn't force. It wasn't pressure. It was control. Precise. Terrifyingly precise. The chaos outside stopped. Instantly. People froze mid-motion. Time didn't stop. But it felt like it did. What did you just do? The figure asked. Light's voice was calm again. Cold. Calculated. I adjusted. To what? To you. The figure's eyes narrowed. That's not possible. It is, Light said. You stabilized the world, so I stopped attacking the world. A pause. Then. I'm focusing entirely on you now. Ryak's grin sharpened. Oh, that's bad. The figure didn't move. But something in their stance shifted. More alert. More serious. You can't break me, they said. Light took one final step forward. Now they were face to face. No, Light said quietly. But I can break everything around you until you have nothing left to stand on. Silence. Heavy. Unavoidable. The figure stared at him. You really have become something else. Light didn't deny it. I became necessary. No, the figure said softly. You became alone. That word hit harder than anything before. Even Ryak stopped laughing. For just a second. Light didn't react outwardly. But something deep beneath the surface shifted. Just slightly. Alone. Light repeated. The figure nodded. You're the only one who thinks like you. That's what makes me right. No, they said. That's what makes you dangerous. Another pause. Then Light smiled again. But this time, it wasn't confident. It was something sharper. More unstable. Then let's see. The air began to distort again. But differently this time. More focused. More personal. What happens when the world has to choose between us? The figure didn't look away. It already is. And somewhere, far beyond the city, something else began to wake up. Not Light. Not the figure. Something older. Watching. Waiting. Interested. Ryak slowly looked up toward the sky. Oh. His grin returned. Bigger than ever. Now you've done it. Light didn't look away from his opponent. What? Ryak's voice dropped slightly. Amused. Excited. Almost cautious. You're not the only god paying attention anymore. And for the first time, even Light Yagami felt something new. Not fear. But anticipation. The moment Ryak spoke, the sky responded. Not with lightning. Not with thunder. But with silence. A deep, unnatural silence that swallowed the entire world. Light's eyes slowly lifted toward the sky, where something invisible had begun to press down on everything. So there is something else, Light said quietly. The figure across from him didn't look up. I told you, they said. You're not the only one watching. Ryak hovered higher now, his grin still there, but tighter. Careful, Light. This isn't your usual opponent. Light ignored him. His focus sharpened. Analyzing. Breaking it down. Whatever this was. It wasn't like the figure. It wasn't resisting. It wasn't opposing. It was observing. Judging. Just like him. Show yourself, Light said, his voice calm but commanding. Nothing happened. Then, the sky cracked. Not visually. Not physically. But something tore through it. A presence. Ancient. Heavy. Unmoving, yet everywhere. Even Light felt it. Not fear. But pressure. Interesting, Light whispered. The figure finally looked up. You feel that too? Yes. Good, they said. Then you understand. Light didn't respond. Because what he was feeling was familiar. Too familiar. This isn't new, Light said slowly. The figure looked at him. What do you mean? Light's eyes narrowed. This is the source. Silence. Then, the presence shifted. As if it heard him. Ryak's grin widened again. Oh, you just got its attention. The air became heavier. Not crushing like Light's power. Not stabilizing like the figure's. But something else entirely. Absolute. Beyond both of them. Light smiled slightly. So this is where it came from. The figure stepped forward. You're wrong. No, Light said. You said it yourself. I changed. You changed. A pause. So what caused that change? The figure didn't answer. Because they didn't know. Light's smile grew slightly. This. The word echoed. And for the first time. The presence responded directly. Not with a voice. But with something deeper. Understanding. Recognition. Light's eyes widened just slightly. You see me. Ryak leaned forward. Oh, this is bad. The figure's expression hardened. What's happening? Light didn't look away from the sky. It's acknowledging me. The pressure intensified. The city trembled. But this time. Not from Light. Not from the figure. From something far beyond them. The figure stepped closer. That's not a good thing. Light chuckled softly. It is for me. You don't know that. I don't need to. The presence shifted again. And then. Something changed. Light felt it instantly. A connection. Faint. But real. Like something was reaching toward him. Testing him. Measuring him. You created us, Light said quietly. The figure froze. What? Light's voice remained calm. Not directly. Not intentionally. He lowered his gaze slightly. But you're the reason this power exists. Ryak stopped smiling. Light. The figure shook their head. No. That's not. It is, Light said, cutting them off. You don't just appear. Neither do I. Another pause. Something chose. Silence. Heavy. Unavoidable. The presence pulsed. And this time. The figure felt it too. Their stance shifted slightly. It's not choosing, they said. Light looked at them. Yes, it is. No, they replied. It's testing. That word hung in the air. Testing. Light's smile faded slightly. Testing what? Before the figure could answer, the world broke. Not shattered. Not destroyed. But separated. The ground beneath them disappeared. The city faded. The sky collapsed into darkness. And suddenly, they weren't standing in the world anymore. They were somewhere else. A space without shape. Without sound. Without anything. Except each other. And it. Light stood still, looking around. So this is it. The figure looked tense now. This isn't right. Ryak floated nearby, quieter than usual. I don't like this place. Light didn't react. Instead, he stepped forward. Toward nothing. Toward everything. You want to test me? Light said. No response. But the space reacted. Shifting slightly. Listening. The figure stepped beside him. This isn't something you can control. Light glanced at them. I don't need to control it. Then what are you doing? Light's eyes sharpened. I'm proving myself. The figure shook their head. That's exactly what it wants. Good. A pause. Then I won't disappoint. The space trembled again. This time. More violently. And then. A voice. Not loud. Not quiet. But absolute. You are incomplete. Light's eyes widened slightly. You speak. The figure tensed. Don't listen to it. Light ignored them. Incomplete, he repeated. Yes. Light smiled faintly. Then complete me. Silence. Then. You lack balance. The figure stepped forward immediately. Exactly, they said. That's what I've been trying to. Light cut them off. No. The word was sharp. Definitive. I don't lack balance. The presence pulsed. You lack opposition. Silence. Then. Everything clicked. Light slowly turned his head toward the figure. I see. The figure's eyes widened slightly. No. Light's smile returned. Wider now. Clearer. More dangerous than ever. This was never about stopping me. The figure stepped back slightly. Light, don't. Light's voice dropped. It was about creating you. The space trembled. The presence pulsed again. Agreement. Confirmation. Ryak whispered under his breath. Oh, this just got insane. The figure clenched their fists. You're twisting it. No, Light said. I'm understanding it. Another step forward. Closer. You exist. He pointed slightly. Because I needed you. The figure shook their head. That's not true. It is. No. The word echoed violently. For the first time. The figure's power surged uncontrollably. The space distorted around them. Cracking. Splitting. Resisting. Light's eyes lit up. There it is. The figure was breathing harder now. You don't get to define me. I already have. You don't control me. I don't need to. Light stepped even closer. Now face to face again. You're my balance. Silence. Heavy. Then. The figure spoke again. Quieter. More controlled. Then what happens when balance breaks? Light smiled. Then one side wins. The presence pulsed again. Watching. Waiting. Judging. And for the first time, it wasn't just observing. It was deciding. The silence after those words wasn't empty. It was waiting. Light didn't move. The figure didn't move. Even Ryak, who had laughed at everything so far, said nothing. Because now, it wasn't a fight anymore. It was a decision. And something far beyond them was about to make it. The presence pulsed again. Stronger. Closer. You are imbalance. The words weren't aimed at one of them. They were aimed at both. Light's expression didn't change. The figures did. What, they said. Light tilted his head slightly. Explain. But the presence didn't answer directly. Instead, the space around them began to fracture. Not violently. But precisely. like pieces of reality being peeled apart and examined. You represent the extremes. Light's eyes narrowed. And? You cannot coexist, as you are. The figure stepped forward immediately. Then fix him, they said, pointing at Light. He's the one. No. The word cut through everything. Absolute. Final. The figure froze. Light's smile returned. So you understand. The presence pulsed again. You must resolve. Silence. Heavy. Then the figure shook their head. No. Light glanced at them. No. I'm not playing this game, they said. This isn't balance, it's elimination. Light chuckled softly. And you just realized that. The figure looked at him. You're fine with this? Yes. Of course you are. Light stepped forward slightly. Because I win. You don't know that. I do. The figure's eye sharpened. You really think this is about strength? Yes. It's not. Light's gaze darkened. Everything is. No, the figure said. This is about choice. Light's voice dropped. Choice is irrelevant. No, they said again. It's the only thing that matters. The space trembled again. The presence pulsed. Reacting. Listening. Weighing. Light noticed. Of course he did. It's responding to you, he said. The figure didn't answer. But they didn't deny it either. Light's smile faded slightly. Interesting. The figure took a slow breath. You said I'm your balance. Yes. Then maybe I'm not here to destroy you. Light narrowed his eyes. Go on. Maybe I'm here to prove you wrong. Light almost laughed. That's the same thing. No, they said. It isn't. Silence. Then. The figure stepped back. Lowering their guard. Letting the tension drop. Even the space reacted. Slightly stabilizing. Ryak blinked. What are you doing? The figure didn't look away from Light. I'm choosing. Light's eyes sharpened instantly. Choosing what? Not to fight you the way you expect. Light's voice hardened. That's a mistake. Maybe. The figure spread their hand slightly. You kill. You control. You dominate. Yes. But you've never had to deal with someone who refuses to play your game. Light's expression darkened. I already said. No, the figure cut in. You said you'd break everything around me. A pause. What if I don't stand on anything? Silence. Light didn't respond immediately. Because for the first time, that didn't have a clear answer. The figure continued. What if I don't protect the world from you? Light's eyes narrowed further. Then you're useless. Or maybe, they said, I protect it differently. How? The figure looked directly at him. By not letting you define it. The presence pulsed again. Stronger this time. Light noticed immediately. You're aligning with it. No, they said. I'm aligning with what it wants. And what is that? The figure didn't hesitate. Balance. Light's voice dropped. I am balance. No, they said. You're control. And you? I'm choice. Silence. Then. Light laughed. Not softly. Not calmly. But genuinely. Choice? Yes. That's what you think balances me. It's what challenges you. Light stepped forward again. The space reacted instantly. Tension rising. You think giving people choice will stop me? No. Then what's the point? The figure's gaze didn't waver. It proves you're not necessary. That hit. Not physically. Not explosively. But deeply. For the first time. Light didn't respond immediately. You built your entire existence on being needed, the figure continued. Light's eyes flickered. You said the world needed a god. It does. But what if it doesn't need you? Silence. Heavy. Unavoidable. Ryak slowly drifted back, watching carefully. Careful, he muttered. You're stepping into dangerous territory. Light's expression changed. Not anger. Not rage. Something colder. Say that again. The figure didn't hesitate. The world doesn't need you. The space shook. Violently. Light's power surged instinctively. The figures followed. Two forces clashing again. But this time, something else joined in. The presence. Pressing down. Forcing them. Enough. The word echoed through everything. Absolute. You will resolve. Light's eyes burned brighter than ever. I already have. No. The figure stood firm. We haven't. The presence pulsed one final time. And then, everything froze. Not slowed. Not paused. Frozen. Even Light couldn't move. Even the figure couldn't react. Only their thoughts remained. And the voice. You will choose. Light's mind raced. Choose? He didn't need to choose. He already knew. Didn't he? You may remain. As you are. Images flooded his mind. The world under his control. Peace. Order. Fear. Perfection. Or. The images shifted. People choosing. Failing. Succeeding. Struggling. Living. Chaos. But real. Light's thoughts sharpened. You're asking me to give up control. Yes. The word echoed. Final. Light's expression hardened. No. Instant. Absolute. But. The figure spoke. Not aloud. But somehow. Inside that same space. You're afraid. Light's eye snapped toward them. I don't feel fear. You do, they said. You're afraid of a world that doesn't need you. That's not fear. It is. Silence. Then. For the first time. Light hesitated. Not long. But enough. The presence reacted. You are capable. Of what? Light's thoughts raced. He had already won. He had already become everything. So why? Why did this feel like a crossroads? The figure's voice came again. Prove you're a god. Light focused on them. I already have. No, they said. Prove you're more than one. Silence. Deep. Unavoidable. And for the first time, Light Yagami didn't have an immediate answer. The presence waited. The figure waited. Even Ryak waited. And the world held its breath. Light's eye stayed locked on the figure. The silence stretched so long it started to feel like something physical, like it was pressing into his skull, forcing him to think deeper than he ever had before. More than a god. Light said slowly. The figure didn't move. Yes. Light let out a quiet breath. For once, it wasn't calculated. It wasn't controlled. It was human. Ryak noticed immediately. That's new, he whispered. Light ignored him. You're asking me to give up everything I've built, Light said. No, the figure replied. I'm asking you to prove it wasn't built on weakness. Light's eyes flickered. Weakness? Yes. Light's voice sharpened. Explain. The figure stepped closer, not aggressively, not defensively, just closer. You created a perfect world, they said. But only because you were afraid of what happens without control. That's not fear. That's exactly what it is. Light's expression tightened. I saw what the world was, he said. Crime. Corruption. Meaningless suffering. And you decided no one else should get to decide anything ever again. They proved they couldn't. No, the figure said quietly. They proved they're human. Silence. Then. Light laughed again. But this time it wasn't confident. It wasn't victorious. It was strained. So your answer is to let them suffer. My answer is to let them live. They're the same thing. No, they said. You just can't see the difference anymore. The words lingered. And this time, they didn't bounce off. They stuck. Light's gaze lowered slightly. Just for a second. If I let go, he said slowly, everything returns to chaos. Maybe. People die. Yes. Crime rises. Probably. Light looked back up. Then why would I ever choose that? The figure didn't hesitate. Because it's real. Silence. The presence pulsed again. Not pushing. Not forcing. Just waiting. Light's thoughts began to spiral. Faster. Deeper. He saw everything. The world he created. The fear. The obedience. The silence. The peace. Then. He saw something else. A memory. A classroom. A boy. Himself. Before all of this. This world is rotten. His own voice echoed in his mind. Back then? He wanted to fix it. Not control it. Fix it. The difference hit him harder than anything. When did that change? Light muttered. The figure heard him. When you stopped seeing people as people. Light's jaw tightened. They lost that right. No, they said. You decided they did. Another pause. Then Light looked at them again. And you think I can just undo everything? No. Then what? The figure took a slow breath. Change it. Light's eyes narrowed. How? By letting. The present spoke once more. You must choose. Light closed his eyes. For the first time since this began. And in that darkness, he saw two paths. Absolute control. Or uncertainty. Choice. Imperfection. Life. His eyes opened again. Sharp. Focused. Decided. Fine, Light said. The figure tensed. Ryak leaned forward. Oh, here we go. Light raised his hand slowly. Power gathered instantly. The space warped around him. The presence reacted. The figure prepared. You're right about one thing, Light said. The figure's eyes locked on him. What? Light's voice dropped. I've never had to think like this before. A pause. Then. And I don't like it. The figure's expression hardened. Light. But Light continued. I don't like uncertainty. The pressure surged again. I don't like chaos. Stronger. I don't like a world where people suffer because no one takes control. The space cracked. The figure stepped forward. That's not what I'm saying. I know exactly what you're saying, Light snapped. Silence. Then. He lowered his hand. And everything stopped. Completely. Even the present seemed to pause. But Light said quietly, "I understand it now." The figure froze. "What?" Light looked at them. Not as an enemy. Not as a variable. But as something else. "You're right." That word hit harder than anything else so far. Ryak blinked. "Wait, what?" The figure didn't move. "Say that again." Light's expression was calm. Clear. "I said, you're right." Silence. The presence pulsed. Different this time. Watching closely. Light took a slow breath. "I became something else." No denial. No arrogance. Just truth. "I stopped seeing the world for what it is." The figure stepped closer. "Light. I saw it as something to fix, then something to control, then something that needed me." A pause. "That's where I went wrong." The space trembled again. But not violently. Not destructively. Something was changing. The figure's voice softened slightly. "So, what are you choosing?" Light didn't answer immediately. He looked at his hand. The same hand that had decided thousands of lives. The same hand that reshaped the world. Then he lowered it. Completely. "I'm not giving up my power," Light said. The figure tensed again. "But?" A pause. "I'm giving up control." Silence. Deep. Unreal. Ryak's grin slowly returned. "Now that is unexpected." The figure searched his face. "You mean that?" "Yes." "How?" Light's eye sharpened again. Not cold. Not empty. Focused. "I stopped deciding everything." The presence pulsed. Stronger. "You allow choice." Light nodded slightly. "Yes." The figure took another step forward. "And when people choose wrong?" Light didn't hesitate. "Then they live with it." A long pause. "And if they hurt others?" Light's gaze hardened slightly. "Then I act." The figure studied him carefully. "That's still control." "No," Light said. "That's judgment." "Same thing." "Not anymore." Silence. Then the present spoke. "You have changed." Light looked up. "I've evolved." The space began to stabilize. Slowly. Carefully. Like reality itself was accepting something new. The figure exhaled quietly. "This isn't over." Light glanced at them. "I know. You're still dangerous." "Yes." "But?" A small pause. "Not the same." Light didn't deny it. "No." The presence pulsed one final time. Balance restored. And then the world came back. The city. The sky. The noise. Everything. Light stood there, back where it all began. The figure stood across from him. Ryak floated above, laughing quietly. "Well, that was fun." Light looked out at the city again. But this time, it felt different. Not controlled. Not perfect. But alive. "This world," Light said quietly. The figure looked at him. "What about it?" Light's eyes didn't leave the city. "It's still rotten." The figure sighed. "Yeah." A pause. Then Light smirked slightly. "Good." The figure blinked. "What?" Light turned, walking past them. "Now it's worth fixing." And for the first time, he wasn't alone in that goal. Light walked forward without looking back. The city stretched out in front of him, loud, imperfect, alive. Sirens in the distance. People arguing. People laughing. People making choices. For the first time since everything began. He didn't try to stop it. Behind him, the figure watched in silence. "You're really going to trust them?" they asked. Light paused slightly, but didn't turn around. "No." A small pause. "I'm going to watch them." The figure crossed their arms. "That still sounds like you." Light let out a quiet breath. "It is." Another step forward. "But it's not all I am anymore." Ryuk floated down beside him, grinning wide as ever. "So what now, Light?" he asked. "No more instant judgment? No more playing God?" Light's eye stayed forward. "I'm still a god." Ryuk laughed. "Of course you are." Light's voice remained calm. "But even gods can learn." The figure shook their head slightly, but there was the faintest hint of a smile. "Don't mess this up." Light smirked. "That depends on them." He stepped into the crowd. And this time, no one dropped. No one froze. No one even noticed. The world kept moving. Messy. Unpredictable. Free. Ryuk hovered above, watching it all unfold. "Well," he muttered, taking a bite of an apple, "this got a lot more interesting." The figure turned slightly, looking up at the sky. "Yeah." A faint breeze passed through the streets. And somewhere far beyond sight, that presence remained. Watching. Not judging. Not interfering. Just observing. For now. Light disappeared into the city. Not as a ruler. Not as a shadow. But as something new. Something uncertain. Something dangerous. In a completely different way. And for the first time, the future wasn't decided. It was open. Unwritten. Human. And that was far more unpredictable than any god.
Nothing can break me.